Jack lived with his mother in a small, humble cottage. Poverty was their constant companion. Food was scarce. His mother sadly decided to sell their only cow. "Take her to market, Jack," she instructed with a sigh. Jack led the cow down the dusty road to town. He hoped to get a good price to help his mother. Suddenly, a peculiar man appeared beside him. The man wore a strange hat and a wide grin. "I'll trade you something far better," he whispered. He held out 5 small, ordinary-looking beans. "These are magic beans," the man claimed mysteriously. He promised they would bring untold riches. Jack, intrigued and perhaps a little naive, agreed. He handed over the cow and took the beans. He hurried home, excited to show his mother. His mother was waiting anxiously at the door. "Where's the money, Jack?" she asked, concerned. Jack proudly presented the 5 magic beans. His mother's face fell. She was furious at his foolishness. "You traded our cow for beans?" she exclaimed. In her anger, she threw the beans out the window. Jack was heartbroken by his mother's reaction. He went to bed hungry and full of regret. The next morning, Jack awoke to a strange sight. A massive beanstalk had grown outside his window. It stretched high into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. The beanstalk was thicker than any tree he'd ever seen. Curiosity and a glimmer of hope filled Jack. He decided to climb the gigantic beanstalk. He started his ascent, hand over hand, upward. The climb was long and tiring, testing his strength. Finally, he reached the top, stepping onto soft clouds. Before him stood a colossal castle, grand and imposing. It was unlike anything he could have imagined. "This must be the home of a giant," he thought nervously. He cautiously approached the castle's massive doors. He peeked inside, his heart pounding in his chest. The interior was vast, with furniture of enormous size. He saw a fearsome giant snoring loudly at a table. Gold coins were piled high, glittering in the dim light. Jack knew he had to be careful and quiet. He hatched a plan to steal some of the giant's treasure. He hoped to alleviate his and his mother's poverty. He crept silently into the giant's enormous hall. He grabbed a small bag of gold, heavy in his hands. He turned to leave, his heart racing with fear. Suddenly, the giant stirred in his sleep. Jack froze. Hoping he hadn't been noticed, the giant grumbled and shifted, then fell silent. Jack quickly but quietly made his escape. He hurried back to the top of the beanstalk. He began his descent, clutching the bag of gold. He imagined his mother's joy at seeing the riches. He climbed down carefully, step by step. He was eager to reach the ground and share the news. He knew this was just the beginning of his adventure. He hoped to bring more wealth to his mother. He reached the bottom, his legs shaky but triumphant. He ran towards their cottage, gold in hand. His life was about to change forever, he knew. Jack climbed the beanstalk again, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. He reached the giant's castle, its stone walls looming against the cloudy sky. He slipped inside, the air thick with the smell of roasted meat and something else. He spotted a large bag overflowing with gold coins, glittering invitingly. He grabbed the bag, its weight nearly pulling him over, and scurried back to the beanstalk. He slid down, landing with a thump near his mother's cottage. The gold bought them food and comfort for a while, but it wouldn't last forever. Another climb, another risk. This time he targeted a hen in a gilded cage. This was no ordinary hen. It laid eggs of solid gold, gleaming in the dim light. He snatched the cage, the hen squawking in protest, and fled once more. His mother was overjoyed, each golden egg a symbol of their newfound fortune. But Jack's greed, or perhaps his desperation, wasn't satisfied. He ascended the beanstalk a third time, his eyes set on a magical golden harp. The harp sat on a table, its strings shimmering with an ethereal light. As he reached for it, the harp cried out, a melodic warning echoing through the castle. The giant stirred in his sleep, a low rumble shaking the very stones. Jack grabbed the harp and ran, the giant's booming voice erupting behind him. Fee, fee, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. The giant was awake, his massive form lumbering after Jack. Jack scrambled down the beanstalk, the harp clutched tightly in his arms. The giant followed, his footsteps shaking the beanstalk violently. Jack reached the ground, breathless and terrified. "Mother," he cried, "bring the axe." His mother emerged, her eyes wide with fear at the sight of the descending giant. She grabbed the axe, its blade gleaming in the sunlight. Together, they began to chop at the base of the beanstalk, hacking with all their might. The beanstalk groaned and swayed, threatening to topple at any moment. The giant roared in fury, realizing his peril. With a final, mighty blow, the beanstalk splintered and crashed to the ground. The giant plummeted with it, his fall shaking the earth. A deafening thud marked the end of the giant. Jack and his mother stared at the fallen beanstalk, their hearts pounding. They were safe, but the memory of the giant's wrath would forever haunt them. The golden harp played a soft, soothing melody. The hen laid another golden egg, its surface gleaming. The bag of gold coins remained, a symbol of their newfound wealth. Jack and his mother looked at each other, a mixture of relief and gratitude in their eyes. They had faced danger and emerged victorious. They would never forget the risks they had taken. They would use their wealth wisely, helping others in need. Their lives were forever changed. They built a new house. They bought new furniture. They ate good food. They wore fine clothes. They were happy. But they never forgot their humble beginnings. They always remembered the magic beans. They remembered the beanstalk. They remembered the giant. They were grateful for their good fortune. They lived in peace and prosperity. Jack learned a valuable lesson. Greed can lead to danger, but courage and determination can overcome any obstacle. He became a wise and just man. He helped his community. He lived a long and happy life, and his story was told and retold for generations to come. The end.